Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here, and in this... Alright, I guess I'm singing this episode in. Fine. Just bear with me, please, so we can get to the damn episode, okay, guys? This is something I have to do. We were down in Georgia, looking for some fraud. When I took a look under the table, man, and I said, oh my God, there were 4 big black suitcase-like totes. When I opened one up and I looked inside, it was full of votes. Hey, what are all of these votes down here hiding? Kinda strange that they all say Biden. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell, and if you are not following along with the American Reveille, you are wrong. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here, and no, we are not here to talk about the introduction to this video because we are here to talk about what actually happened in another type of video. Ladies and gentlemen, how much more evidence do we need? Let's just get right to this one. Really quick, if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't hit the notification bell on YouTube, please do so. Rumble, if you're listening there, please do so. Any other one, Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review. It helps us get more viewership, and we need to spread the word to unite the right, ladies and gentlemen. Spotify, whatever you are listening on or watching on, follow along, and make sure you head over to Parler and give me a follow. I have 11,000 wonderful, wonderful patriots forging forward and fighting the good fight as digital soldiers, and I need you to join us here at the American Reveille. So, folks, let's get right into it. Check this out right here on the Epoch Times. Georgia video footage allegedly shows poll workers staying behind producing suitcases of ballots. And we are going to watch some of this video, and I'm going to show you some interesting things in there. But I want to read through this first, folks. So this is by Jack Phillips. It's from the 3rd of December. President Donald Trump's legal team on December 3rd presented surveillance footage at a Georgia state legislature hearing that appears to show ballot counting workers telling poll observers late at night on Election Day to leave before continuing to count and pulling out what appears to be suitcases full of ballots. And folks, when you see it, it doesn't matter what it appears to be. It matters what it is. And it's suitcases full of ballots. A spokesperson for Fulton County, here we go again, in an email to the Epoch Times did not dispute the authenticity of the video. They're not denying what happened. To date, we are aware of no credible reports of voter fraud or wrongdoing in Fulton County. Any credible report of such activity will be investigated and addressed as provided by Georgia law, the spokesperson said. They didn't deny anything. They just made a vague statement about whatever they made it about. They just made a vague statement of credibility and fraud and blah, blah, blah. It was just jargon to fool small-minded people, folks. In the hearing on December 3rd, Jackie Pick, a lawyer who is volunteering with the campaign's legal case, said the team received video footage. All right? The team received this video footage from State Farm Arena's Vote Tabulation Center in Fulton County, Georgia, folks. The team said that GOP poll watchers weren't allowed to watch the counting process in the poll center. We know that's illegal. We also know that the lower courts are ignoring the fact that any of this is illegal, and that's absolutely fine. According to Pick, an unusual occurrence took place later in the evening at around 10 p.m. local time. A woman, described as a blonde woman with braids, told workers to stop counting and notified everyone to go home. So they went home, ladies and gentlemen. Describing the video footage, Pick said, quote, everyone clears out, including the Republican observers and the press. But 4 people stay behind and continue counting and tabulating well into the night. The 4 counted unobserved until about 1 a.m. It's a lot of time for a lot of different things to happen, folks. Pick said that video footage shows Fulton County election workers waiting at their scanning areas until GOP poll watchers and reporters left the room before they started scanning ballots. Ostensibly without any observation, Pick noted that his contravenes state and county law, that this contravenes state and county law, folks. And we're going to scroll down a little bit here. At 11 p.m., once everyone was gone, the workers are seen pulling ballots out of underneath a table. And at the hearing, Pick asked rhetorically whether it's normal to store suitcases of ballots under a tablecloth. And you'll see, like I said in the video. And for those listening, I will do my best to describe the video to you. This Jackie Pick, I believe her name is, it's not clear whether election workers knew they were being recorded. They should have known. I would think that we would have recorded all of this stuff wherever it was taking place. It would be very stupid not to record people handling ballots and, basically the decision that would make the person chosen the next president. I mean, this isn't like we're talking parking tickets or Chinese food menus that are in the drawer. These are legal votes. These are ballots. This is treasonous what's happening. It's very, very disturbing, ladies and gentlemen. The lawyer further alleged that the same woman with the blonde hair and braids, presumably the manager, had placed the table there earlier. It's not clear where those ballots came from, and it's not clear when the purported suitcases of thousands of ballots were placed under the table. Whether they're suitcases or a special carrier for ballots also isn't clear, but man, they really look like suitcases. You'll see. Witnesses have sworn in affidavits that the counting continued until the early morning hours, Trump's team said. And here's a little bit of footage. There's this gentleman in red here holding the suitcase. We'll hear a little more about him. And here's another worker. There's a suitcase being dragged off. Doesn't that? Come on. You see the handle, the wheels. It's a suitcase, folks. Quote, why are they counting them when the place is cleared out with no witnesses, Jackie Pick said. She argued that the number of ballots there is, quote, beyond the margin of victory in the presidential race. 3 scanners, folks, 3 scanners, which can carry out several thousand ballot processes per hour, are believed to have been working for several hours until the early morning hours, she said. President Donald Trump said on Twitter that the video is significant evidence showing voter fraud. And folks, again, I don't know what you'd have to literally walk in on them like holding a Trump ballot and a magic marker and like writing Biden on it. That's the next step of evidence. I don't know how much more you could get. I don't think you're ever going to satisfy the vicious left. So it doesn't really matter at this point. What matters is that we have the proof, and it has to go up to the top where they will make constitutional decisions, ladies and gentlemen. Quote, wow, a blockbuster testimony taking place right now in Georgia, Trump wrote. Ballot stuffing by Dems when Republicans were forced to leave the large counting room. Plenty more coming. This is my terrible like Bronx accent. That doesn't sound a thing like Trump. But this alone leads to an easy win of the state. End quote. In the hearing, it was noted that officials cleared out State Farm Arena on election night, allegedly due to a pipe break. Pick and other members of Trump's team said it's not clear whether this was the reason why poll workers and members of the press were kicked out or not. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, a Republican in name only, told reporters this week that Fulton County cut corners during the second recount. Officials with the Secretary of State's office said last month that they were seeing managerial sloppiness. That's what they call chain of custody issues. That's enough to overturn an entire election, folks, if you don't know anything about chain of custody. Fulton County Board of Commissioners Chairman Rob Pitts challenged the criticism during a public hearing on December 3rd, saying he would give the county an A+ for how it handled the election. Wow. Just wow, ladies and gentlemen. In early November, the spokeswoman told the Epoch Times via email that officials were, quote, not aware of any direction given to any observers to leave. Registration and Elections Director Richard Barron said that when he learned that staff were dismissed at 10:30 p.m., he advised that some workers needed to continue. Quote, based on that directive, a smaller crew continued to work through the night. It may be possible that observers left at the time the majority of staff left, but from the information we have, the processing area was never closed to the observers. They're basically saying, I don't know. They're putting their head in the sand. That's garbage, ladies and gentlemen. What that tells me is that they're passing the buck. And they're going to blame the observers and say the observers left on their own volition. Nothing to see here, folks. Look the other way. Please close the curtain. Georgia Republican Party Chair David Schaefer said Fulton County officials falsely announced that the counting of ballots would stop at 10:30 p.m. This video proves our allegation that they continued counting ballots in secret until 1 a.m. Schaefer wrote that in a tweet on December 3rd. And folks, I'm going to start showing you this video. And it's quite disturbing. It really, really is. I started it at about 9 minutes and 6 seconds in. It's a 12-minute video. You can go to the Gateway. No, sorry, excuse me. This is on the Epoch Times. You can go to the epochtimes.com and find this article. It is an article from Jack Phillips, like I said before. But I'm not going to put you through the 12 minutes of video. I'm going to get you right to the juicy part so you see what happened and you can hear it come from the horse's mouth. All right, folks, so let's watch some of this. Let me make that bigger, and we're going to take a look. And watch my mouse, by the way, because I'm going to try to direct you. Most of the action takes place in the upper right corner here, okay, folks? The upper right corner. That's where you want to look if you miss something. So let's take a listen and a watch.
At about 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table.
Look at this table. Let me pause this. See this black table right here in the upper right? It's right there. Right there. You see it? This person in purple. Watch what they start doing here.
This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about
that suitcase that just rolled by. You'll see
8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table.
Look at that right there.
Yeah, upper right hand. You see the gentleman in the red. So he
Why
just
are they
pulled one out.
hiding them under the table? It's very strange.
So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question.
That is a good question.
So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race.
Yep. So let's do the math for a second. Just some really basic guesstimation, all right? We could use our logic for this. She said there's multiple machines, 3,000 machines an hour, 2 hours unsupervised. Suitcases from under there full of ballots, all right? 3 machines. Let's take a lucky guess. Each 3,000 an hour. 3,000, that's 6,000 for each. If you put it all together, then 6,000 times 3 is 18,000, ladies and gentlemen. 18,000 votes that had the possibility of going all to Joe Biden, most likely did all go to Joe Biden. What would happen if you just got rid of those votes? Oh, I guess Trump would win Georgia. Not that he never lost Georgia. Not that he never, well, he won it. Let's just put it like that. I'm jumbling my words here. But he won Georgia. And this going up to a court, even if it goes to the Supreme Court, it goes to a lower court, wherever it goes, this is pretty damning stuff right here, folks. It's damning. This isn't patty cake crap. This isn't basic stuff. This is real fraud. They wanted the real evidence, right? Well, now we have video. So what else could they ask for? You know, there's not going to be a body in the freezer for them to find. They're never going to be satisfied with this, ladies and gentlemen, because my phone went off. Sorry about that, guys. They're never going to be satisfied with this, folks, because they're not actually looking to solve anything. If you haven't noticed by now, they're trying to destroy this country. They're trying to bring it down. They're trying to create an illusion that Joe Biden won the election so that they can say that Trump is attempting a coup, and hopefully they have more support, folks. Because when these states start flipping and Trump starts winning again, but for everybody to see, you're going to see it. All of the mainstream outlets, they're all going to cry coup, 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 and it might get a little crazy. So I just wanted you to see what was actually happening. I wanted you to take a look in these rooms here, see this video firsthand, get my take on it, soak it in a little bit. And I wanted to get your gears turning and your clocks in your head ticking a little bit. Look at the timeline. Look what's coming. I know that a lot of people are saying, where the hell is everything happening? But things are going on a 24-hour basis, and you have to kind of zoom out and look at the timeline as a total and see how it's actually accelerating. We didn't hear things for days at a time. Now we have footage coming out. We have rallies in multiple states. We have legislators stepping up. We have that win in Wisconsin when it was sent back to the lower court. I mean, listen, guys, we have to take into account that the legal process takes a little time, and you need to understand that things are moving in the right direction. Now, in the meantime, if you want to help out, you can do all kinds of things in your community. You can write, you can publish something. You could stay in your business and not close it down. And I actually highly recommend that. I think that if everybody stayed and didn't leave their business, I think that if everybody stood their ground and stood up for their rights, people might not be getting dragged out of their restaurant and arrested, because they would have the support of the community. I think they might be afraid to do that at that point. There's strength in numbers, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to be like Black Lives Matter or Antifa. You don't have to stoop to their level and be violent. You know, Dr. King accomplished a lot with sit-ins, accomplished a lot with hundreds of thousands in number, peacefully marching. There's a lot you can do with the symbolism of holding the moral high ground when you truly hold it, folks. So we have an opportunity as conservatives and Republicans and libertarians and new Republicans and MAGA party, because screw it sometimes. Maybe we need a new party. I mean, you have an opportunity to change the course of history, at least the course of the left's idea of what they want history to be. We can do this the right way because we hold the moral high ground. But this type of stuff here, the best thing you could do is share this. So people see this. People need to know there's fraud. You have half a country that's brainwashed. Some of them are hopeless. They'll never come back. But there's a lot of them that might be able to see the light. So spread the word, ladies and gentlemen. I really, really, really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. As always, thank you so much. I'm James Lane. This is the American Reveille. I do a podcast every Monday. I do little videos like this throughout the week, try to give people some laughs, some perspective, spread the message of community on the right, of leadership, of honor, of courage. We're here to do the right things, say the right things, and show the world, practically at this point, what it is to be an American, what it is to be a patriot, and what it is to clean up our system the right way. until it's time for it to not be the right way. Have a good one, folks. Oh, good. I am glad you're still here, comrade. I need you to do me big favor. I need you to go and hit this like button right here. I need you to hit this share button right here. And most important of all, I need you to come up here and hit the subscribe button. Yes, you have to hit the subscribe button and subscribe to American Reveille YouTube channel. Good. And then, comrade, when you're done, go up to the parlor. All right, I need you to find the parlor. Go into your app store, your Google Play Store, and find Parler, P-A-R-L-E-R. Okay, Parler. And when you get on the Parler, either in the app or www.parler.com, you come and find at the James Lane. The James Lane, the owner and the president of the American Reveille. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you this so much, and I look forward to building gigantic, united, right-wing community with you.